Brevon, I'm courtside, you know what time it is. It's
Sports plus life. Sports plus life.
ringside or front court or field pass, we ballin', no. Knuckle up or buckle up, I tell it like it is when I'm on my show. Home run, slam dunk, knockout, or gossip though.
Sports plus life.
Yeah.
Sports plus life.
Yo, 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 yo! What's up? What's really good? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life, you heard? You already know what's going down today, bruh. So guess what? Turn it off, turn it off, turn it all the way off. Now, yeah, what? Going all the way down. Forgive me. Oh, man. Just having a little fun. Please allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns, and this here is Sports Plus Life, that there sports podcast where we talk about all of the necessary events in sports and all of the necessary events in life as well. And I'm going to tell you something, you know, one thing that I've been, I guess, kind of joyous about is that I haven't led off the show talking about life as much, particularly all of the things that need to be corrected in the game of life. So that's definitely a blessing there, even though, of course, you know, the everyday struggle never stops. You know, it's always something, but I'm not going to nitpick because, honestly, I do like for this show to be about positive. I mean, it's a sports podcast. I mean, so, you know, I like to talk my sports, but I like to be positive as well. I like to be funny. I like to make y'all laugh. I do stupid stuff or do just silly stuff. You know, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and it ain't for you, then it ain't for you. You know, that's one of the beauties. One of the beauties of my podcast is that, for one, I do it because it's an outlet for me. I get on here and I can vent and basically, you know, say whatever I want. You know, ain't nobody sponsoring me. I'm not worried about views or anything else like that. If I was, then I would have stopped a couple of years ago because I'm going on 3 years doing this. I don't get a lot of views. I don't give a damn. But one of the beauties of this podcast is the fact that if you don't like it, if you don't like the content, one of the beauties is you can turn it the fuck off. I mean, I'm being so serious, and I'm not coming at anybody or anything like that. I'm just saying, one of the beauties of my podcast is, one, I say what the hell I want. When I interview anybody, they can say what the hell they want. I don't care. But if you don't like it, you can simply change the channel. You know, because one thing about me, I am going to say what the hell is on my mind. You know, I'm not one of these people who's gonna be politically correct and, hey, don't say that because that might offend somebody. Look, I'm not. When I say something, I don't say it to offend anybody. I promise you that. I say it because it's what's on my mind. Now, if it offends you, you know, like I said, either you could cut it off, you could leave me a comment, you could personally hit me up and say, hey, B, I didn't like this, or let's agree to disagree on this comment or whatever. And hey, it's all good. It's all good. But I'm going to say what the fuck is on my minds. I'm going to say that. And I encourage everybody else to do the same, because I'm not one of these robots out here who wants to do everything by status quo, or like Kwame Brown calls it, the go along, get along gang. That ain't your boy. Okay. But anyway, it is Tuesday, June the 15th, 2000 of the 2-1. And before I get into anything for real, I'm gonna show my age here, but definitely I have to shout out the class of 2001. 2 days ago marked our 20-year anniversary when we graduated from Holland Springs High School. It's like, where does the time go? It's like I've said on the last couple of weeks of podcasts that I've done. Once you're a grown-ass adult, nothing moves faster than time. Nothing moves faster than time. So yes, June 13th, 2001 was the day that the class of '01 represent, walked across the stage at the Siegel Center, downtown Richmond, Virginia, for Highland Springs class of 2001. We just had our 20 years. Shout out. Shout out to everybody in that class, and special shout out to a couple of those who are no longer with us from that class. One of them being my cousin, who was more like a brother to me, Dwayne Washington. Definitely, I had to put that out there. I thought about recording this song called Star Maker that we used to sing in my advanced chorus class in chamber singers. I did it in 2011. I did it 10 years ago. It's actually on my old YouTube page, Brevon 83. I thought about redoing that and putting that back out there. I mean, who knows? I still might. I mean, but I don't, but, I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. I actually am trying to work on some other things musically, because I have a DJ gig coming up, actually, a couple of them. I have one Saturday. I have one July 3rd. So anyway, wanted to get that out there. HS represent, class of '01. I love you guys. Can't nobody mess with us. But anyway, without further ado, let's get to it. Yeah, definitely had to shout out the old classmates. What's crazy is whenever I see somebody from high school that I haven't seen in a long time, I always hear the same thing, is that you still look the same. I hear two things. You still look the same, and boy, you ain't changed, because I am still, even after 20 years, I'm unapologetically goofy. It's me, it's who I am, and that is the best thing that I can do. The thing that I can do better than anything else in this world is be me. Biatch. And I would send that message out to everybody who chooses to listen. The best thing that you can do in your life is be who you are, unless you are a fucked up person. Then change is required, okay? And if you have issues and you are a fucked up individual, yes, change is definitely required. But when I see my peoples, I'd say something silly, say something stupid, and them saying that I still look the same means that I'm doing something right, because I still look good. I'm still too busy looking good. But anyway, all right, on to these sports topics, man. The NBA playoffs, man. You know what? The second round, the conference semifinals, 3 of the 4 series are all tied up at 2, and one team has punched their tickets to a conference final. That would be the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to start off by talking about the Phoenix Suns, because you know what? Even though they put out my Los Angeles Lakers, this is a fun team to watch. They swept the Denver Nuggets 4-0. They completed their sweep. Let's see, today is Tuesday. On Sunday night, they completed their sweep. And Chris Paul, the real MVP. I've been saying it for the last couple of months. Chris Paul should have been the MVP. Now, they gave it to Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. You know what? And no shade, no disrespect to him. He had a phenomenal season. But when you talk about most valuable, emphasis on valuable, in the MVP discussion, the V should be in bold print letters. V, valuable, because I've been saying this the last couple months. Chris Paul has totally changed the culture in Phoenix. You're talking about a team that had not been to the playoffs in over a decade. The last time the Phoenix Suns went to the conference finals was the last year that they went to the playoffs, in 2010. So they go throughout a whole decade of being irrelevant, of being a laughingstock, and along the lines, they definitely picked up some talent. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges. And what they needed, what they were lacking, because they did go undefeated in the bubble last year, but their record was barely good enough to qualify to come to be invited to the bubble. And they won every game, but they still missed the playoffs. So when Chris Paul first was traded to the Phoenix Suns, I was like, Chris, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? You're at a point in your career now where I know you want to win a title. Why are you going to Phoenix? I came out here and I said that Chris Paul should go to the Milwaukee Bucks. He should be with Giannis, and I believe they would come out of the East or have a great chance to come out of the East. And I'm going to tell you something. I was dead wrong. Now, I expected the Phoenix Suns to go to the playoffs because of what I said before. When there is not an alpha male, when there's a lot of talent but no alpha male, another alpha male on the team, Chris Paul will thrive. He did it with New Orleans. When he went to the Clippers, Blake Griffin was another alpha. That didn't work. When he went to Houston, there was another alpha, James Harden. That didn't work. But when he went to Oklahoma City last year, a lot of talent, and they far exceeded expectations because Chris Paul was the undisputed, unquestioned alpha on that team, and players bought in. That is what has happened with these Phoenix Suns, except they are way more talented than the Oklahoma City Thunder was last year. Devin Booker, who I said low-key is becoming my favorite player. He has just been balling out of control, but Game 4 belonged to Chris Paul. 37 points. He had over 20 in the second half. Did not miss a shot in the fourth quarter, and he was just dropping buckets, mid-range after mid-range after mid-range, and he would not let the Phoenix Suns lose. He would not let them lose that game. He understands that they needed the rest, himself in particular, because he had been battling the shoulder stinger that happened in round 1, and that's when everybody wrote him off. He said in the interview, everybody has constantly written him off, and he's been absolutely right. He was the most valuable player this year, and I think he came in 4th in the voting, and that's insane because, like I said, emphasis on value. Do you think for 1 second that the Phoenix Suns would be going to the Western Conference Finals if Chris Paul was not on the team? Do you think the Phoenix Suns would be going to the playoffs if Chris Paul was not on that team? I think we all know the answer to that would be a big fat hell no. So like I said, they swept the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets was the last of the Final Four teams from last year in the bubble. They were the only one of the Final Four teams from last year's bubble that got out of the first round. The other 3 all lost in the first round: Lakers, Miami, and Boston. So Phoenix will get to wait. They will get a well-deserved rest, as, you know, they didn't really they dominated the Nuggets. I mean, the Nuggets came out and had fight in Game 4, even though Jokic got ejected because he had a frustration foul and he wound up and he tried to strip the ball away from Cameron Payne and popped him right in the face. And a lot of people didn't think that he should have been thrown out of the game. I was so on it. It didn't surprise me that he got thrown out of the game because you could see the intent was there. Not the intent to hit him in the face, but the intent for a hard foul. And then on top of that, Devin Booker jumped in his face, and they look like, of course, they're not going to fight. NBA players today, they don't fight. They get in each other's face because now the NBA has gotten so soft, they will kick you out the game for pushing somebody. Now, Ben Simmons did a hard foul last night on an Atlanta Hawks player in Game 4 of their series, but he had an immediate apologetic attitude, so he got a flagrant 1, but he stayed in the game. As to where Jokic, the reigning MVP now, was ejected from the game. So like I said, Phoenix gets a well-deserved rest as they are going to wait to see what happens in the series between the Utah Jazz, who is the #1 seed, and the Los Angeles Clippers, who is the #4 seed. Now, I have called the Clippers to come out of the West. They have been weird, to say the least, or consistently inconsistent in these playoffs, particularly with the first round series where they fell down 0-2 after having the home court advantage with Dallas and winning the next 2 and then losing Game 5 and then winning Game 6 and 7 to win that first round series. Well, in this series in Utah, they lost the first 2 games in Utah. Donovan Mitchell put on a show, but this time they were able to hold court. They were able to hold serve at home on their home court at the Staples Center against the Utah Jazz, and last night they evened up the series. And they have had 2 very impressive wins in Staples Center. Game 3, they won by 26. Last night, they won by 14. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George they went off. They went off in both Games 3 and Game 4. Marcus Morris had a great game last night, scoring 24 points. And it seems like when Paul George plays like his self-proclaimed nickname Playoff P instead of playing like Playoff P Stain, when he plays well, the Clippers are hard to beat. It's just, can you get that consistency all the time from Paul George? Because there was a point in time in game 2 where I was just getting damn frustrated watching him. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And he shut me up because I was just like, yo, Paul George is just not a primetime player. He's not, when he was young in Indiana, in 2012, 2013, 2014, Paul George would take his figurative glove off, walk across the court and smack LeBron James in the face and say, I challenge you to a duel. And maybe he never won the duels, but he played great. Those battles with Miami were great because Paul George was young and he ain't know no better, and he was fearless. And over the last 3 years, when he was with Oklahoma City, well, really it started with Indiana, and I want to say about 2016 when he was passing up last-second shots, but then when with Oklahoma City, and then with the Clippers last year, it's like he hasn't shown up to play when you need him most. So I'm like, how the hell can you give yourself a nickname, Playoff P, when you don't perform clutch in the playoffs? You play like Playoff P Stain. But he was balling. He's been balling the last couple of games. 31 points in game 3 and game 4. And Kawhi just, goodness gracious. Derek Favors, you are a part of perhaps the best dunk of the playoffs because Kawhi yammed on you. At first, I thought the dunk of the playoffs was Blake Griffin over Giannis, but last night? I ain't see that one coming. I did not see that one coming the way Kawhi. And, Kawhi's not known to be like a great leaper, guy playing above the rim and all of that stuff, but he yammed on Derek Favors. So what I've realized, what I've taken away from this series, the Jazz and the Clippers, is that I think the Clippers are the better team. Like, even the games in Utah, the games that the Clippers lost in Utah, they were very close. They were down to the wire games. And in game 1, the Clippers were up by 13 at halftime, and they were up by 2 late in the fourth quarter in game 2. But they just kind of let their foot off the gas, and Utah took advantage. They're a very, very hard team to beat at home. And again, Donovan Mitchell is special. Like, this dude, I said this when I first started this podcast in 2018. I said Donovan Mitchell is the new Dwayne Wade. He's like, that's who he remind me of. I said this back when this podcast first started, that in 2018, and then in that playoff series where Utah went against Oklahoma City when Paul George was playing with Russell Westbrook. I said, hey, this dude Donovan Mitchell, he reminds me of Dwayne Wade. Now Dwayne Wade is a part owner of the Utah Jazz, go figure. But this dude is nasty. He is legit. It's to a point now where now you can stop him in stretches, but you're not going to shut him down the whole game. Patrick Beverley had some good defense on him, particularly at the end of the first half. You put Kawhi on him for a little while, okay, cool. You put Paul George on him for a little while, that's cool. You can shut him down in stretches, but you're not going to shut him down the whole game. Just like game 3, he didn't score in the first quarter, but then he dropped 16 in the second quarter and had, I believe, 37 points. With 37 points in the game, and that's after not scoring in the first quarter. I believe he had 30 last night. Now, Utah needs Mike Conley. They need to get Mike Conley back quickly because you're not going to stop Donovan Mitchell, but the next best player that I've seen for Utah, particularly that's been able to create their own shot and for others, is Jordan Clarkson, who just won Sixth Man of the Year. Another guy, another former Laker. How about that? But he's been the only one. Joe Ingles has been good, but he's catch and shoot for the most part. And so they need Mike Conley. They need somebody who's going to be a creator. They need somebody who's going to be a distributor, who can get their own shot, an all-star point guard. He's been battling that hamstring. I'm telling you, look, this is what I've realized about these playoffs with everything that's going on between all 4 series. Well, now 3 because Phoenix is done. the injury gods are playing such a part in these playoffs. I mean, I know I understand condensed scheduling, it would play a part in the season. It's a part of the game, absolutely. It's a part of the game. But I mean, the stars are starting to line up for a couple of these teams to legitimately win a title. And that is Phoenix, Milwaukee, and the Clippers. The stars are lining up for one of these teams to take home the title this year. And when I say the injury gods, that's going to lead me to this next series. The Brooklyn Nets are in trouble, y'all. The Brooklyn Nets, who, when all three of their superstars are healthy, they look like the greatest team that God ever created, particularly on the offensive end. And they are banged up now. James Harden, remember, he only played 44 seconds into game 1 of this series. He's been out ever since with a hamstring. And then 2 days ago in game 4, after the Bucks won game 3 in a throwback defensive game. That was a throwback Knicks versus Miami, Knicks versus Pacer game in game 3. But during game 4, Kyrie Irving had a nasty ankle sprain. And that looks like, I mean, if he plays, and like they've already been ruled out for the night. No Kyrie, no James Harden for the night. But if Kyrie comes back and plays in game 6, that would be a minor miracle, because I saw that ankle sprain and it was ugly. He left the stadium in game 4 and with crutches and a walking boot. So Kevin Durant, it's on you tonight, bro. You're gonna need Joe Harris to make shots. You're gonna need Blake Griffin to be the Blake Griffin of game 1 and game 2.
Excellent.
And you're gonna have to prove. Tonight. You know, if you're the best player in the world, I think you are. If you're the best player in the world, you gotta prove it. And if you are the Milwaukee Bucks, like I said, you are one of those teams right now where the stars are aligning in your favor. Bucks are healthy. Giannis is fine. Drew Holiday is fine. Chris Middleton is fine. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you have got to take advantage. You have got to take advantage, because you're not going to get a better opportunity to beat this team, which you were not favored to beat, that made you look like a G League team in games 1 and games 2. You did your part. You defended your home court. You evened the series. You've now made it a best out of 3 series heading back to Brooklyn. And like I said, no James Harden, no Kyrie Irving. It's Kevin Durant by his lonesome. Now, you have got to take advantage. If the Bucks are going to win this series, they better put them away, because the Brooklyn Nets are on the ropes. And the Milwaukee Bucks have to apply the knockout punch. Otherwise, this is going to look very, very bad for Giannis. Budenholzer may lose his job. It's going to look very, very bad, though, because, you know, if you lose to the Brooklyn Nets in 6 or 7 games, and it was a spirited fight, all 3 players for Brooklyn was there. You had Harden, KD, and Kyrie. Okay, we get it. You know, that's Brooklyn's just super talented. But seeing as how that hasn't been the case, you've only had to play against all 3 of them in this series for 44 seconds. Even though you lost games 1 and game 2, you defended your home court. Now they're down their second superstar. You got to win. It's not your fault that Kyrie got hurt. It's not your fault that Harden got hurt. But one thing great teams do, they take advantage when they have mismatches. You have to take advantage of what is in front of you. You have to. Especially if you have any type of championship aspirations. The stars are lining up for you guys. Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Clippers, Milwaukee Bucks. The stars are lining up. I want to say the Philadelphia 76ers as I move to that series, but they blew a game. They blew it last night against the Hawks. They had the Hawks finished. They had the Hawks dead to rights and ready to take a 3-1 lead back to Philadelphia for a closeout game. And Trae Young turned into Magic Johnson, 18 assists. Didn't shoot well last night. 18 assists, however, a youngest player in NBA history to have that many assists in a playoff game, and the Hawks even up the series. Like I said, this Atlanta Hawks team is dangerous, and what's even worse, Joel Embiid looks like that knee is bothering him significantly to the point where he was 0 for 12 last night in the second half and missed a bunny, missed a gimme at the rim for a potential game-winning shot last night. Missed a bunny. Now look, man, the adjustments that Doc Rivers had made after game one had worked, because really the Hawks haven't been close since game one, and they were down by 17 in game four. The adjustments that they made, particularly on Trae Young, have been masterful. But look, if Embiid is hurt, if Embiid is compromised, if he can't go, and we know he has the small tear in his meniscus, but if he can't play, the Hawks will beat you. You understand that? Make no mistake about it. If Joel Embiid cannot play for whatever reason, the Atlanta Hawks will beat the Philadelphia 76ers.
And I ain't playing no.
Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Embiid will, I mean, he's just going to have to fight through the pain, but I think Embiid will be dominant. Embiid, I don't think that Philadelphia is going to allow Atlanta to win another game, but Embiid has got to play. He's got to play, and he has to be effective. 0 for 12 in the second half. I mean, that's bananas. That is definitely bananas. So, I mean, that's really the only thing I could really say about that series between Philly and Atlanta, because once I saw the adjustments that Philadelphia made in game two, they carried it over to game three, and I'm like, well, Philly's got control of this series, and they're up by 17 in the first half and 13 in the second half. You know, Atlanta would make their rallies, but then Philly would always fend them off, but that just didn't happen last night. So, good series. 3 very good series. You have 76ers and the Hawks 2-2, Nets and the Bucks 2-2, Jazz and the Clippers 2-2. And all the while, the real MVP, Chris Paul, and his dangerous group of Phoenix Suns are sitting back, chilling, gonna get the rest they need, and we shall see as the playoffs continue. As the playoffs continue. Now, on to the world of the NFL, where honestly, it ain't much to report. I mean, it's not much to report. Stephon Gilmore did not report to mandatory camp for the New England Patriots. We don't know if he's going to be on the trading block, if this is over money. You know, nothing has changed with the Aaron Rodgers situation. Deshaun Watson Deshaun Watson said that he would like to be the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. Funny now, Denver Broncos supposed to be getting all these damn quarterbacks now. Will be either Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson. I'd like to see us get one of them. But I mean, even though I'm good with Teddy Bridgewater, I just want Drew Lock ass gone. Get him off my football team.
Bye, bitch.
Get Drew Lock the hell off my football team. I mean, honestly, and that's really all it is. It's not much to report from the NFL. I mean, I really don't pay that much attention to the off season as long as nobody gets hurt, unless it has something specifically to do with my squad. Okay, unless it specifically has something to do with my squad. Quick boxing note: Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, did exceed the 1 million pay-per-view buys, and that's simply the power. That's the star power of Mayweather, and I guess the YouTubers turned boxers, the Paul brothers. I've read where Floyd Mayweather, that Jake Paul wants to fight Floyd Mayweather in a real fight. Floyd said, okay, fine, I'll fight you in a real fight, but you have to come down and wait, which makes sense, because Logan Paul was 40 pounds heavier than Floyd Mayweather, and no governing body is going to sanction that fight. They won't sanction a fight unless they're heavyweights. Now, if they're heavyweights, that's different, because the heavyweights, once you pass 200 pounds, doesn't matter what the weight difference is. But Jake Paul would have to come down about 30 pounds. He would have to come down from about 180 to 154. And I don't see that happening. I really don't see that happening. And this just in, James Harden has now been upgraded from out to doubtful for tonight's critical Game 5 against the Milwaukee Bucks. being reported that James Harden is going to try to see what his hamstring feels like during the shoot-arounds, during the pregame shoot-arounds, to, I guess, try and give it a go, because I guess, they realize that Milwaukee's all healthy. Milwaukee's there. Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, Lopez, they're all there, and they could smell blood. Now, if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, in particular, if I'm Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, and James Harden does play, then I am coming at him full force. I'm running, I'm gunning. A hamstring injury has a lot to do with conditioning, and maybe, just maybe, the condition that James Harden came into at the beginning of the season, trying to get the hell out of Houston, where he kind of was, looked like the, what's the damn thing he looked like? He came in looking like Humpty Dumpty with a beard. Then he got to Brooklyn and he slimmed down, but still, you have to have the proper conditioning. So if I am the Milwaukee Bucks and Harden plays tonight, I'm coming at him. Now, if I'm James Harden and I'm playing tonight, I'm taking a page from Chris Paul. I'm not going to try and overextend myself. I'm not going to try to be explosive. I might try to get the mid-range game, more or less try to space the floor out and be a facilitator. And he's been an awesome facilitator since joining the Brooklyn Nets. This is actually my favorite version of James Harden since he's gotten to Brooklyn. But, yeah, so that's breaking news, so we shall see when it comes to game time. So, with that being said, what a buzzer, what a buzzer, what a buzzer. Yeah, this has been kind of a shorter show than the last couple of episodes because what I said basically I was going to do is I've really been locked into the NBA playoffs. Baseball, not so much because there's so many games in baseball, such a long time. I get locked into baseball in the playoffs, and I just don't keep up with it like I used to. Unfortunately, after my dad passed, I just stopped keeping up with it as a whole. I still keep up with the Yankees, and we've been very inconsistent and pretty much playing 500 balls, so on that. But anyway, as far as life topic goes, man, happiness, man. I guess that's always the key, man. Happiness. And no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, just be happy. I mean, life is going to happen. We're always going to run into situations in life that is stressful. But overall, like when you look at yourself overall, are you content or are you happy? Because being content doesn't mean that you're happy. That means basically I'm settled. I can't do, I feel like this is the best I'm going to do. I don't think and that's, a lot of people have that mindset. I have a satisfying life and I think I'm good with where I'm at, and if some people are willing to live with that, then, God bless them. But the thing about happiness is you have to, it has to be real, and if you are surrounding yourself with a circle of people that possibly could be draining the energy out of you to make time for your own happiness, for your family, for the people in your household, or just anything that you want to do outside of your household in general, if you find yourself always being burnt out, stressed out about something, then, maybe you just need to listen to that Sam Cooke song and say a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. But one thing that I've realized about people is, and from a person who has been in situations where, I have being a person who has constantly lived with questions about my situation, it's not cool, because there leaves of unsatisfied feeling, which ultimately leads to resent to something or someone. And when you have resent in a situation and saying, what, if this didn't happen, I could do this. Or if this person wasn't around, or I wasn't with this person, then I could do that. X, Y, and Z. Resentment can sometimes lead to serious unhappiness. And I think one thing that I think people are afraid of is that you get content, you get settled, but at the end of the day, there's still something missing in you, or there's still an unhappiness that's there, but you don't want to address it because you don't want to risk having to start over from ground zero. And the thing about it with life is that you can't be afraid to start over from ground zero if the ground that you're standing on is rocky. You know, if the foundation that you're on is no longer as strong as it was, or if it never was strong to begin with. And I'm not just talking about somebody, you know, I'm not just talking about a couple or anything like that. I'm talking about anything, job, career, anything, you know, that you've invested a lot of time into, but it's not giving you the full satisfaction that you want it to. Like I said, nothing is ever going to be perfect. That's just life. Nothing will ever be perfect, you know, such as life. But I think some people, and I include myself in this, have been afraid to kind of start over from scratch. Now, me personally in my life, I have accepted, I have said to myself, you know what, fuck it. You know, this has to, you know, situations in my life have to start over from ground zero, or I have to press the reset button on my life, you know, so I can really, truly be fulfilled. Because there have been times in my life where I have gone through with a lot of resentment in my heart because, hey, maybe I should have made this decision, or maybe I should have made that decision. And it happens, but you can't dwell on it. You got to fix it. You have to fix it, even if it means getting out of your comfort zone, even if it's a comfort zone that you've known for a very long time. But like I said, if you've known this comfort zone, no matter what it is, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whatever, if you've known this comfort zone for a very long time and you're still feeling unfulfilled, and then on top of that, you know, you feel hurt, you feel resentment, for the betterment of yourself, you know, sometimes a change is necessary. Change gonna come, but change only comes if you let it, you know. And with change, with making a big change and possibly starting from ground zero, then you have to rely on that great word called faith. Seriously, I ain't trying to preach to nobody. I'm just saying, I'm telling you this from life experiences, because I myself have gone through these situations way too much, and to be left kind of unfulfilled, unsatisfied, and empty and resentful. And I've seen too many people that I care about and love dearly go through the same damn thing, honestly. And it doesn't matter, who you are. If I know, I don't have to have seen you forever. It could have been a very long time since I've seen you. I got homeboys, I got friends, I got people. Like I said, it just 2 days ago, it was 20 years since I walked across the stage. There's some people that I haven't seen in 20 fucking years, but I know have been going, at least seen physically in person, but I know have been going through those same struggles, trials, and tribulations, and I would reach out and tell them the same thing because I love them and care about them deeply. Now, if I ain't seen you in 20 years and I hit the lottery, don't bring your ass over here. I'm serious. If I hit the lottery and I ain't seen you in 20 years or 15 years or 10 years, don't magically appear. Nah, because then the wall is ready for you. But I still got nothing but love for you and will still help you. Nah, but real talk, man. You know, happiness, man. You know, if you walking around and you have a feeling in your chest that's just a pulling feeling in your chest or pulling feeling in your gut because you're just kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired, don't sit content on it, because all it's going to do is build up and manifest itself. And when it comes out, kablooey, okay? Straight up. But anyway, it's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. This has been another episode of Sports Plus Life. If you have not subscribed yet to my channel, Brevon Towns, definitely hit that subscription button. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, want to holler at me, or if you have something that you're doing on a positive note that you want me to shout out or even interview you, holler at your boy, man. No problem. I'm all about showing love. Honestly, I really am. But everybody have a safe, wonderful, peaceful day. Be happy, be well, be loved, be safe. I'm starting to walk around more and more without my mask on, but if I see a place that's too crowded, I'm still masking up, even though I'm fully vaccinated. You know, it is what it is. But I'm out this bitch. Peace, y'all.